Hello, I'm Joe Donlin.
And I'm Erica Sargent. Every single day, we share stories with you about people in the Chicago area dedicated to improving our community. Heroes who go above and beyond to help others.
For the 23rd year now, the American Red Cross is recognizing some of those individuals, like Vince Carter, an educator for nearly 50 years and co-founder of Project Education Plus, an academic and athletic program in the Cabrini Green near North community.
He's this year's Education Hero.
I started teaching in 1976, and that's the only job I've ever had. A lot of them tell me I was their favorite math teacher. Next year will be my 50th year working for CPS. Really, 1979, we had a teacher strike around Christmas time. One of the parents called me and asked if I can work with the kids because they weren't going to school. And the parents were like, oh, you all do such a great job with the kids. We need a program like this all the time. The rest is history. That's how I started. This will be our 45th year. So Project Education Plus is a nonprofit agency that works with youth and senior citizens in the academic fields, the athletic fields, the arts fields, and mentoring. Right now, we serve the kids all the way from first grade all the way up to high school. We do have an after-school program where we help them with their homework. We do a lot of community stuff, and I have the kids volunteer. We also have a sports program, travel basketball, and we do non-traditional sports. I think I enjoy watching the kids become successful. There's always some kids that have come along that people thought couldn't be successful. And then when they turn around and they are successful, that's my prototype. After all these years, the majority of the people that work in the program, they all were in the program.
I was actually one of the original students in Project Education Plus. Once you become a product of Project Education Plus, that's something that you carry with you no matter where you go.
I'm the most proud of the fact that I was able to make a small difference in a community to make it that much better.
As humble as he is, I kind of feel like he doesn't understand sometimes how much he really does. He's changing lives as we speak.
Pep more showed me how to be a young man. He showed us the way of life too. He's more than a coach to me. He's more of a father figure to me.
We come in contact with students that don't have a lot of hope. I see the work that he does every day, and he's truly a hero.
So I did not think it would last this long, but now I guess I gotta at least make it to 50, right?
When disasters happen, firefighters are often the first to race to the danger.
This year's Firefighter Hero Award goes to Mundelein Lieutenant Paramedic Ken Schulman, who didn't hesitate to head to North Carolina after Hurricane Helene. They're like the SWAT team of firefighters, and these local crews are on the ground right now in North Carolina.
Joining in on the desperate relief effort is Illinois Water Rescue 1, led by Ken Schulman.
I have been a firefighter for nearly 28 years, and I've been on Illinois Water Rescue 1 for approximately 10 years. Illinois Water Rescue 1 was deployed to North Carolina for Hurricane Helene to perform rescues and provide any support we could to the local responding agencies. We were tasked with searching an area called Shope Creek Road. We were the first EMS responders to get in there. We were able to get to every single house in that neighborhood. They were completely cut off. The only way they could get supplies was if someone were to airdrop it with a helicopter. It turns out that in all the chaos that was going on, that they hadn't sent any relief that way. So I talked to the person who was in charge of airdropping supplies, and I found out the next day that we were able to get them the supplies they needed. I take that as a badge of honor that I prompted them to not forget about those people.
He's put a lot of his own time into this. He's taken it to another level in that sense. So when you talk about wanting to help people, he really exemplifies it in the sense that he went down into the middle of a very contentious situation weather-wise, just shows you exactly how much he's willing to help his fellow man.
Whenever we went up to any of the houses, we received a hero's welcome.
We've come across people that have literally had their house swept away in the river, and they're coming up to us and offering us water and thanking us for being there.
It really restores your faith in humanity when you see people that have lost everything and people rally to help them out. My plan this summer while I'm on vacation is to return to the same area that I was in North Carolina. I'm going to volunteer to help people either rehab or rebuild their houses. I'm not the hero. I would say my team are a bunch of heroes. When anyone calls me a hero, I say it's not me, it's the team. Just doing my job and doing it well is reward enough.
This year's military hero is on a mission to bring hope and healing to veterans with PTSD.
Michael Tellerino is the founder of Canines for Veterans. Since 2016, the organization has matched and trained over 200 service dogs.
Does the service dog save the veteran, or the veteran save the service dog? It's just a win-win situation. I am the CEO and founder of Canine for Veterans. We train and provide service dogs to veterans and first responders suffering from PTSD and traumatic brain injury. I was so proud to wear that uniform just to serve my country. We lose 22 veterans a day to PTSD suicide. I've got the best of both worlds, I really do. I get to wake up in the morning and save a dog from possibly being euthanized. And in my heart, I get to know I get to change this veteran's life. Not only do we provide all the training, we also provide free food and free medical for the life of that dog. It never costs our veterans a penny out of pocket.
I have been part of the program for the last 3 years, and this is my dog, Arlo. He's a 3.5-year-old Belgian Malinois. Within 24 hours of my wife submitting the application for me, Michael and his team reached out. I came to the training center, met everybody. A week later, they introduced me to Arlo, and it's been a journey ever since.
Out of the over 200 veterans that we have through our program with service dogs, I'm proud to say that we haven't lost one to PTSD suicide.
They'll never tell a veteran that they're done. And I am living proof of that. And I still keep coming back because this program has a lot of veterans with the same issues. So it becomes almost a therapy session.
They're working and meeting other veterans that are going through the same thing that they're going through. So now they form a relationship not only with their dog, but with other veterans. It just opens their whole world for them. That's what we're here to do. We're here to help our veterans transform back into civilian life. Most people think, well, could a dog do that? Yeah, a dog can do that. Believe me, I see it every day.
As a lifelong Inglewood resident, Tanika Lewis-Johnson has watched her neighbors struggle to keep their homes because of discriminatory housing practices.
Now she's helping reverse the trend, one house at a time. Tanika is this year's Social Justice Impact Hero.
I am from Chicago's South Side, Inglewood neighborhood. My work is about using my art to help people understand history and segregation, but also how we can disrupt it. I created landmarkers for just 13 of the 600 homes in Greater Inglewood that were sold to aspiring Black homeowners on predatory housing practices. Mr. Melvin Walls, who was close to 70 years old, still living on the same block. He told me about all of the issues that he was having because the devaluation of the entire neighborhood. I really wanted to use my next art project to not only uplift history and its issues, but to solve it. And that's what Unblocked Inglewood is. This is a project that is repairing 22 homes on one block that was deeply impacted by these predatory housing practices. Investing in existing homeowners in disinvested neighborhoods. It's how you can offset gentrification. It's how you can ensure that people remain homeowners. If you help them heal, help them repair their homes, then they'll eventually want to beautify the exterior of their homes. And we all know that a beautiful exterior of a home is public art. The residents, they're so appreciative to be a part of this project and to be activists. Artists don't just have to create work that illuminate historic harm, but we can also imagine solutions.
Chicago police officer William Martinez Jr. lives the true definition of community policing.
He's managed to break down barriers, building relationships with kids on the West Side through a program he started called Hip Hop Tuesdays at the Chicago PD. Officer Martinez is this year's law enforcement hero.
I am a 12-year Chicago police officer. I am a husband, a father, a mentor, a coach. I would play basketball with some of the youth in the Austin community. I got to know them. We built up a great relationship. During that time, they actually informed me that they were basically lookouts for the gang because the gang actually allowed them into what they call the cool house. It had Xbox, PlayStation, different gaming systems. And according to them, their exact quote was the biggest TV they ever seen. They didn't even know they were being lookouts, right? And they didn't even know anything was wrong with it, but they were influenced because they got access to this room. And I had a meeting with the commander, and he's like, hey, you're our youth officer, what are your plans? And I said, I need the biggest TV I ever seen. And he goes, what? I said, I need Xboxes, PlayStation. And with that, we actually created the program called Hip Hop Tuesday. The way that I motivated them was that every year, if our students have a GPA of 3.0, we would buy one big piece of equipment that they wanted. They would come in with their homework, do their homework, get good grades, and I will do everything I can to make sure that they get everything they want. So most of our youth, their grades improve drastically, but then we also are key on mentorship and investing in the youth and teaching them how to control their emotions. In the summer, we actually have 4 basketball rims that we pull out and put into the 15 district parking lot. So the youth have access to play outside and inside. You know, we just pour into them. Anything that they're into, we try to get it for them because they're working hard with school.
He just a good mentor. Like he'll do anything for us when he comes to the community. So he a great man for sure.
What Will is doing here in the 15th district is affecting families. It's making sustaining and fundamental change in their lives. So for me, it's part of that higher calling, that higher commitment.
We can't grow singly, we grow together. So if we pour into each other, we cannot be stopped.
Mallory Hammerstein happened to be at the right place at the right time when a coach collapsed at her nephew's baseball game.
The surgical trauma ICU nurse jumped into action, ultimately saving his life. She's this year's healthcare hero.
I work in the surgical trauma ICU in a level 1 trauma center. We see patients whose lives are drastically changed in a second. It started out as a normal day, October 14th. I decided to go to my nephew's last baseball game of the season. I was sitting with my mother-in-law behind home plate. The coach had passed out. That's when my father-in-law, who was also at the game, came up to me and he said, I think they could use your help. And so I ran onto the field, and that's where I saw the baseball coach on the ground, and he didn't have a pulse. I immediately went into nurse mode, so I started compressions, and I also called for an AED. There was no AED at the baseball field. I asked if someone would be able to do mouth-to-mouth, and his wife said that she would, and we just did that until the paramedics came.
Mallory begins CPR with other bystanders as they waited for paramedics, one of which happened to be Mallory's husband.
We were called for a CPR call in progress. I was very surprised at first that I didn't realize it was her, but I was kind of in the zone and focusing on my job. This award is very fitting for her. Mallory's a very smart and determined individual. When I found out that she was the one giving CPR, I was very proud of her.
Because of the outcome of that event, there are now 2 AEDs being donated to that baseball field. I think it's important to be able to step in and help whenever that may be, because life happens whether you're prepared or not. If something does happen where someone needs your help, you could really change their life and change the lives of their loved ones. If you help one person, the gratitude goes beyond that one person.
Giving back is something that's pretty much second nature for Jaquil Jackson.
He was just 5 years old when he came up with an idea for Project I Am to help those unhoused in Chicago. Jaquil is this year's youth hero.
Well, you may have seen these before. They're called blessing bags, helping Chicagoans experiencing homelessness. It's an initiative started by teen philanthropist Jaquil Jackson. It's part of his Project I Am organization.
The idea of Project I Am was born at the age of 5 years old, actually. I went to go feed the homeless with my aunt and my cousins for the first time, got to see how they live, and I didn't understand. You know, at 5 years old, I thought that everybody had homes. And we thought about blessing bags, things that we can sometimes take for granted that they don't even have. And these are blessing bags that we've turned into a whole organization and now have impacted over 200,000 men, women, and children. I'm most proud of the young people I've been able to impact. I know that I've reached over 200,000 people in need. But being able to reach the young people and get my message across is the biggest accomplishment, because I know that if we all can rally together, then we can accomplish so many other goals.
Everything about Jaquil makes me proud. As a role model to his peers and to the younger kids coming up, I know he has been a great influence on a lot of young people and has already made his mark as far as what they can grow up to be.
Don't wait to be great is a motto that I created, and it means that us as young people don't have to wait until we're adults to be change agents or start our own business, because we can do it right now.
It makes me feel good because, it makes me know that I'm helping somebody while volunteering.
To a young person that has an idea but doesn't know how to act on it, I would say to start off small. You don't have to start off with a big organization like you hear me talking about. I started with just doing 88 bags and having a few of my family members. So you don't have to start off big. You can start off doing volunteer work. I wouldn't call myself a hero, but being called a hero by other people is really cool. Not something that I would have thought would be called at 5 years old, but yeah, it's a really cool honor.
Payman Rajai was born in Afghanistan and resettled in Chicago when he was just 12 years old.
A year later, he became a mentor to other refugee children, helping them adapt to life in the U.S. And from there, his advocacy has only grown. Payman is this year's Global Citizenship Hero.
I was born in 2007 in Afghanistan, in the middle of war on terror, essentially. We had to leave Afghanistan for threats that were made against my family. I was only probably 7, and we had to go through a transit country, Indonesia. We resettled here in Chicago in 2019. When we resettled in the United States, my ultimate goal was to help every human soul in every aspect. So I joined REACH in 2021, Refugee Education Adventure Challenge of Chicago.
Getting kids to open up and socialize is the goal of REACH, a nonprofit in Chicago that connects refugee youth through activities.
So as a peer mentor, I ask people how they're feeling, mentoring them on their lives, school, and then if there is anything that I can help them with, I'll just offer my assistance. I've been working with American Red Cross since 2022, and then I became a division representative in the IHL Summit in summer of 2024. And, I chose international humanitarian law. These laws are established to protect the civilian population and minimize the damage to both sides. I decided to join as an intern in leading teams such as political discourse and the writing division.
He's so passionate about educating people about what happens during conflicts, who's protected, what's supposed to be protected. 2024 had the most number of global conflicts since World War II. Seeing someone like Payman being so young and already having such an impact is truly inspirational.
Refugees, immigrants, war survivors, their perspectives are very valuable. I personally see my, experience as a responsibility to share and engage. What would 7-year-old me think of this? That would have been only a dream for me, but here I am living that dream.
IDOT Minutemen put their lives on the line every single day when they go out on the interstates to help drivers with flat tires or other car problems.
But Steve Newcomb became a real hero when he pulled 2 women from a burning car. He's this year's life-saving rescue hero.
My name's Steve Newcomb. I work for Illinois Department of Transportation, and I do emergency traffic patrol. We patrol the highways, we look for stranded motorists, accidents, any obstructions in the roadway. That night I was on south end of the Kennedy. I came around the curve at Addison and I saw the car that had hit the wall, and I saw people underneath the bridge. So I pulled up and I noticed the car was on fire. I was gonna push the car out from underneath the bridge, and then I saw movement in the vehicle. And I'm like, okay, everybody said everything was okay. Why are these people still in a burning car? I walked to the driver's door and everybody else left. So I picked her up instantly, brought her to, the side of the road. And I went back to get the passenger out of the vehicle, but she was unconscious at first. And I was trying to pull her out through the driver's side, but it wasn't working. So I went around the passenger side, but the door was locked. So I was just about to break the window to get in, and she just picked her head up, unlocked the door, and then fell the other way. And I got her out of the car and something for them to lay on while, paramedics were coming. And to me, it's like second nature. I just see somebody in distress and I gauge whether I can do anything.
Just being on the expressway alone is a dangerous job in itself. I was not surprised Steve jumped in to help both these women. It's just he was put there for a reason. So, he was at the right place at the right time.
My father was killed in a car accident. It's one of those things, like, I feel like if I can prevent something like that from happening, I'm making a difference. I tell people all the time, everybody we work with is a hero. There's no tangible way to measure how many lives we save. Changing a tire for somebody, getting them off the highway, you don't know what happened in the moments when you weren't there. I like helping people. I like seeing people get back on the road, get on their way. I feel like I'm making a difference.
You've likely seen them providing comfort after tragedy. The Lutheran Church Charities canines and their volunteers have traveled the country responding in times of need.
The person at the helm of it all, Reverend Chris Singer. He's committed his life to leading the Lutheran Church Charities in its mission. Reverend Singer is this year's Disaster Relief Hero.
I have served as President and CEO for Lutheran Church Charities over the last 2 years. At the heart of what we do is all about helping the hurting. So we do that through 4 different distinct ways. We do that with our canine ministry, our disaster response, with our human care, and we also do that with our hearts of mercy and compassion. We have volunteers who are trained in chainsaw. And so especially for tornadoes and derechos and those kinds of incidents, we have an opportunity to go and respond. When we go into these communities, we encounter people who are in shock. They just need time to process. And so whether it's with our canines or spending time in front of that heart or sitting across from an individual who's just there to listen, we're giving them an opportunity to kind of allow them to process what has happened and to assure them that they're not alone. I think for humans to humans, there's always a little bit of that nervousness, but typically you get a very different reaction when you've got a golden retriever next to you.
When you have a dog walk in and somebody wants to cuddle up next to it, we only have the door wide open to be able to discuss needs and where people are at and what's going on in their lives.
Pastor Singer is an inspirational leader who helps us grow deeper in our faith and helps us grow in this ministry so that we can bring that hope, that peace, that love to others who are in need. When you walk in the room and you see those faces change, you know that you're doing something right.
Psychology will tell you that we are creatures who actually have to have hope. The most important thing that we can do is to help keep hope alive for people. This award, as honored as I am to be named in it, the real award goes to our volunteers. They want to make a difference for people who are hurting. And to see that all happening because these folks said yes is such an inspiration.
A Northwestern University student is helping save lives one pint at a time.
Aparna Anantha Krishnan is leading a collegiate blood drive movement across 9 states. She's this year's Blood Services Hero.
Hosting blood drives is something that I was really passionate about.
For Aparna, the importance of giving back started at home.
My parents would always be the ones that donating blood, so that's something I grew up seeing.
That passion grew at a high school in Aurora, where Aparna started a Red Cross club. Now, as a sophomore here at Northwestern University, she's become a collegiate officer for the Red Cross Central Division, where she pushed and succeeded in creating a multi-state college blood drive.
I am the representative of 9 states in the Midwest. The fact that I'm able to represent college students across all 9 of these states is something that I've taken a lot of pride in as a National Collegiate Officer. Being someone who's very interested in blood services, I decided to organize a Spring Collegiate Blood Drive program. The Spring Collegiate Blood Drives ran from March to end of May, and we had over 17 colleges across 5 states host blood drives for their communities, and we had 180 volunteers. We had around 780 blood donors actually show up to these blood drives, and they were able to donate over 680 units of blood. I was so grateful to see that people showed up to donate blood, to see college students playing a greater role in their communities to support community health and support people who are in need within their community. So I think that the overall experience was really uplifting for me, and I was once again inspired by the fact that so many people came together to host blood drives and support their communities.
She's reached so many donors
in that young age category under the age of 24. She's consistently getting the message out of the importance of donating blood. And more importantly, she's stepping up and donating herself and showing her friends and her audience how easy the process is.
Last year, we collected over 680 units, and this year I want to see that number grow to over 1,000 units of blood. And I think that being able for this to grow every single year and just get more and more colleges in North Central Division involved in hosting spring blood drives is something that I'm really looking forward to see. You have an opportunity to really help people in your community. You can save other people's lives just by donating blood, and I think that'd be really great if you could.
It was an idea that started with a single community fridge. Since then, Dion's Chicago dream has helped thousands of people experiencing food insecurity.
Meet the man behind the idea, Dion Dawson. He's this year's Community Impact Hero.
Chicago area nonprofit Dion's Chicago Dream just unveiled its latest initiative to help families experiencing food insecurity.
We were incorporated August 10th of 2020. We had a community fridge outside of a liquor store right in the middle of the pandemic. From there, we just grown and learned. We've since scaled to Dream Deliveries, which is our last mile delivery program where we deliver a week's worth of brand new fruits and vegetables directly to households all over the county. Right now, we're delivering to more than 4,300 households in 160 zip codes every single week, to the tune of about 150,000 pounds of brand new fruits and vegetables provided to the region per month. And then we have Dream Vault, which is kind of like an Amazon locker embedded within the community so that it's easy for them to get to. Since day one, we've bought everything that we've provided. The definition of food insecurity is the lack of consistent, healthy options. We have to make sure that we're hitting that definition. And so we have to make sure that there's quality and consistency.
These boxes give the gift of fresh produce all year round.
And there's a certain permission that they give us to serve them when we're going to their home. We're honored to serve them.
I've literally never met anyone like Dion. He's a visionary. Was blown away by how he was trying to change the narrative around feeding families, and really like how he turned like the food pantry model on its head to not only create jobs in communities that are often overlooked, but then also about putting respect and dignity back in how people receive food and the difference between them being able to eat and eating healthy. It's a human right.
The most rewarding moment is not a singular one, but being able to lay my head down and know everything that day went toward moving the change forward and making society a little bit better. To say that I knew that a kid from Inglewood with no college degree would build a social enterprise with 50 employees that provides all of this fresh produce and really has scaled it to the level that it is, no, God, no. I'm not that smart.
So many incredible people and everyday heroes in our community, and we are fortunate to be able to share each one of their stories with you.
If you have someone you want to nominate for next year's Hero Class, we've made it easy and put the link right on our website.